Hello, everyone, and welcome to our first podcast. I just wanted to tell you that it took way longer than we expected, 2 hours, we being Evangelist and myself. So I cut it into 4 pieces. So you'll hear my voice like this to signify the beginning and the ending of each part. So this is the first part where we'll basically just be talking about board game news and the games we played. The other parts will be mostly centered around Kickstarter, and you'll see them later, okay? So 4 parts of each roughly about half an hour. Enjoy. Hello, everyone, and welcome to So Many Games, So Little Time. My name is Joachim, and I'm here with
Evangelist, as usual.
And, and this is the first time that we're doing a podcast. Very, very exciting. First of all, what is the podcast about? It's going to be a mix of, well, we're going to focus mostly on Kickstarter, but also other stuff like games that we've played, board game news in general, whatever is worth talking about, basically. Okay, so let's start off with some quick board game news. I think the one that stood out most to me was the fact that TI4, Twilight Imperium 4, a 4th edition, is now going to be on Board Game Arena. It's not there yet. But what do you think about that?
I'm trying to wrap my head around it. How long will it take to play? And I'm also thinking about the table space. How are they going to implement that onto the screen?
Well, apparently, there's already like a Discord where they're playing actively, and then the bots are taking care of all the stuff and all the agent and the movement and everything. Yeah. And it kind of reminds people of back in the day when you would play by email, PBEM, like those games that would take months. And literally those people who play on Discord, they literally play for months. And of course that brings some problems with it because you need a good group.
Yes. And exactly. And I think it ultimately comes down to people you know, right?
Yeah.
Because you can't invest that much time and then someone doesn't show up and you have to kick them out and start over and the game ends.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But then the thing that they fixed that in Discord, but you can't do that on BGA. If someone drops out there, somebody on the server will drop in. But I don't think that's possible.
You can't do that in a normal game, no.
So they say that, yeah, you need a good group, and a game is going to take months because a normal game already takes like 8 to 12 hours, or maybe 6 to 12, whatever. I think I might easier play 3-player games now, though, because I only play 6 players in real life. But on BGA, I might be tempted to do a 3-player because that might be a lot shorter, just to test out the factions more.
I just think it obviously would be more difficult, but obviously if it had an AI, it would make more sense in some ways, right? Because with an AI, you could play the game at your own pace. You could then play a 6-player game, even though it's just 2 of you, that kind of thing, right? Like a normal app version. Yeah. I'm surprised it's on Board Game Arena, not an app. But then again, obviously it's more difficult to program AI for it.
Yeah, people were joking like, "What's next? Mage Knight on BGA."
but Mage Knight would work because it's one of the best solo games of all time.
Yeah, exactly. But I think the joke was more about the time that you spend on it, of course. Yeah. But yeah, I think I'm curious to see how.
I'm curious with sorry, I think it's the usability makes me wonder. Are they going to make the usability?
Well,
there's so much going on.
Since they already do it on Discord, hopefully they were smart and they were part of that Discord, or they did their research there, and then the implementation will be way easier. And I know on BGA they also do like they have these forums, right, wherever you can like suggest games. And I know people have been asking for it for quite a long time. So, I don't know.
What do you play on BGA? Now we're on the topic.
My work life is super busy right now, so at the moment I play almost nothing on BGA.
But I think you have time. Do you have time to play TI4?
It's a good point. Well, maybe they'll be more motivated then. Maybe I'll be more motivated. But what I played is It's a Wonderful World, because that's super fast. But then once again, that's the opposite of Twilight Imperium 4.
I played a lot of Lost Ruins of Arnak on there. I played Ark Nova a lot on there.
Yeah.
Gonna try and start playing Heat on them.
Yeah. Oh, Heat, yeah. I just got that, but haven't touched it yet. Okay. The other board game news is something that we're not going to talk too much about because we're going to make a pod about it next week, in 2 weeks, and that's Essen Spiel and CMON Bangkok, the expo they have there, which we will both be attending.
Yeah, looking forward to that. Pretty excited.
Yeah. Finally, something in Asia.
Yes, and it looks like every year the CMON Expo is getting more and more established.
Mm.
Like I think this year is the first time it's now signed a Spiel.
Yeah.
And they're going to have games that will, like, so hopefully next year there'll be more games available from Spiel.
I'm actually wondering, since I'm making all these Marvel Zombies videos, if I should message them and say, do you want me to sit down and explain the game for people while I'm there? But then, of course, there's a bunch of other stuff you can't do if you do that. So I don't know. It's something to think about. Anyway, we're talking about BJ and stuff. That brings us to the board game buffet. What have you been playing the last couple of weeks?
As I 2 nights ago I played Australia for the first time.
Yeah,
that's the Martin Wallace train game stroke Cthulhu game. Have you played it before?
No, but I know about it, and it's yes. Like the mashup is like, huh?
Yes, it was almost like Martin Wallace, who's made some of the best train games ever. He's like he took the mantle, he took the challenges. I'm going to make a Cthulhu train game, and it does work. It does work, and it is.
If I remember correctly, is it true that the first part is that you're building trains and everything, and the second
you're building a network? You're building your network into Australia from the outside, from the port areas, and it's kind of like there's a lot of interaction in this game. So there's a race to the resources that the map holds, and as you start exploring, you start coming across the old ones, and then you have to fight them to protect your network, your farms, and your port. And yes, it's and also there's a semi-co-op aspect to the game in which if one of you gets devoured by Cthulhu, everyone dies. Well, you're eliminated, and then it goes to points. So it's an interesting balancing act between wanting your opponent not to do well, but at the same time needing him to take on Cthulhu.
So the person who gets devoured can no longer win, right?
He's out the game, and then it goes straight to points. Yeah. And at that stage, it's more likely that Cthulhu wins, because it's actually, again, another interesting, because what happens in the game is seeded with Cthulhu, with old ones face down. And so then the game, if they still haven't been seen, they're worth double the points. Cthulhu gains the points.
So he gains. So it's basically like an automa.
Basically, yes. He is competing with you. In fact, he also goes around the time track and does actions with you.
Cool. That sounds very intriguing. Because in the beginning, I was like, what? And especially if you then see the designer who did it, I was like, huh.
Another interesting aspect to the version I got, which is I got the big box Kickstarter version. It also has apparently got a very good solo mode with the campaign.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking about trying the solo mode sometime.
So how many times have you played it? Was it the first time?
It was the first time I played. We actually played twice, because the one guy I was playing with, he got a little greedy, and he thought he could take on Cthulhu a little early, and he ended the game early. So we lost quite early in the game because he didn't prepare well enough for Cthulhu. So then we basically got a chance to start over and try again.
Because I'm asking, because it's not a recent Kickstarter. So how long have you had the game before you actually
played? I've had it for a while. I've had it because, again, I haven't had a chance to play it, and I've been wanting to play it for so long, and so I just saw the opportunity now. It was on the shelf of shame. Yes, it was on the shelf of shame.
I know the feeling, yeah.
But at least I got it out. I finally got it out, so I was quite excited. That's stoked for that.
Very true, yeah. one of the games, well, the game I play the most is, of course, Marvel Zombies, because as you know, we live in Hong Kong, so we tend to get Kickstarters early. And this one had like almost 30,000 backers. So for the channel, I was motivated, but I was also extremely motivated because it's Marvel and zombies. And I have to say, I'm really pleasantly surprised, because I don't often back games that have like multiple boxes, because I think it's like a bloat and everything. But now, because of the channel, I'm going through every box quickly, and they're all very different. Like all the heroes play so annoying, these emails. The fact that all these heroes play very different, the different game modes, the different maps are all different. So, and the one that I played last was the PvP, and it basically turns Marvel Zombies into a MOBA, like League of Legends, where the minions no longer, like the zombies and the troopers, no longer attack you, but they just slowly move to the other side of the map, to your base or the opponent's base. And when they reach there, they score points and they disappear. But at the same time, you have your heroes, the zombies and the regular ones, who are duking it out, who are trying to support the troops. They have special cars that allow you to spawn more or make certain minions go faster or heal or do more damage. So it's basically just typically like a Defense of the Ancients, right? Like a MOBA where you get points for objectives and everything. And it just changes the whole game, because I never thought of I said Marvel Zombicide, of course. So I never figured Zombicide to be that kind of game. I don't know if they did it with any of the previous Zombicides, like a PvP. No, I think you can easily do that as well. But I mean, it's really cool, because it turns into a PvP. People who don't like co-op all that much, suddenly, it's really cool.
But is it just a 2-player PvP?
Well, it's just two
teams.
Yeah, 2 teams. Yeah, so 2 to 8. But then you all have your But I have to say, making these videos where I constantly control all the heroes, I make more mistakes than I regularly do, because I have to think about all the things. Obviously, I'm not going to do PvP by myself again. It was just for the video. But I do want to play against someone else, and then just focus on my team and see what happens. And I was really pleasantly surprised. Now the biggest challenge is going to be painting them.
So you're gonna do it.
Yeah, and actually I want Galactus, because I didn't back Galactus, and now I feel sad because
maybe we're available in Bangkok.
Yeah, I'd like to see my wife's face when I get home with that. It was free. So I don't know. Did you play anything else?
I'm busy painting. Right now I'm painting Marvel United. Making leeway in that, and I'm also painting Monsters on Board.
Oh yeah. Oh, I still have to do that.
Okay. I'm painting that. So I really just did the base for the spook one. So
cool.
So I'm starting that
right on time for Halloween.
Yeah. So I think that's a good point. But yeah, that's what I'm painting at the moment. But as I said, it just feels like there's so much to paint, because I got the all in as well for Marvel Zombies. I mean, for Marvel United, and it just feels like there's so much to do.
But it depends on how much detail you want to put in there, right? I mean, in general,
I don't know. I think your one will be more difficult, because the chibis are a little easier to paint, because there's far less detail.
Well, it's what I thought about. I mean, the zombies and everything, that'll be easy, because there's going to be quick work. Like, it doesn't really need to have too much details. But the actual walkers, but then the heroes, you want to look good, right? You want them to look good. So that's going to be probably like one mini either every day or every 2 days. So it's going to take a while, yeah, for sure.
When are you going to
start? I have to finish.
There's my I did this one.
Cool. Yeah, very nice. Very nice.
Sentinel. So I started Sentinels.
Yeah. So for the people who are just listening, you can see the picture, the video on YouTube. Sorry. Yeah. So did you play anything else?
What else? I played Northgard. I also painted that version. What's it called? Northgard Uncharted Lands, based on a video game.
Yeah.
For later on, and it was. I kind of also delayed playing that one because the Dice Tower didn't give it a good review. When you back at Kickstarter, you start worrying that, okay, maybe I shouldn't have got this one. But then I played it on Thursday night, and I was I actually enjoyed it. It was very straightforward. It was a streamlined 4X game that actually was fun. I did have fun playing it. It has this deck building element
Mm-hmm.
where all your actions are based on the deck. You expand on the board, and it had a very interesting one mechanic I really enjoyed was the fact that the first person to pass gets first dibs on the upgrade cards.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's right.
So the
Yeah.
deck building that first you have your asymmetric power because you got your heroes and your clan. So because you got a couple of cards, it gives you some asymmetry. But basically, that you upgrade your cards by there's like 4 cards or the amount of cards per player, and the first person to pass gets first dibs on those cards. And the last set of cards after in the last round of the game, those are end of game scoring.
Well, I like that mechanic because Endless Winter has something similar. If you use one of the
Right.
modules, that if you rest earlier, you get the bonus.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's probably not as big as the upgrade cards that you're talking about, but just the idea of making people think about should I stop earlier or not, and then the whole mind game of is that person might go for it. So I really like that mechanic because I
And
was surprised. It's okay, yeah, go ahead.
no, I was just saying that the one also thing it stops is that one element of competitive deck builders is that you take a card simply because you had nothing else to take, and then the next card that comes up is perfect for the next guy. You know that feeling, right? That you basically given him the card that you wish to.
That's Arnak. That's
Things like that, right? So that it prevents that, right? Because there's only these 4 cards available, and
yeah.
everyone knows what they are, and then you try to make the decision if you want to go for it early or not.
That's my biggest gripe with Arnak. But I was surprised with the fact that they made a game out of it because Northgard is just like a mobile phone game, right? I mean, not like a triple A game or whatever. So I was like, huh? Like, okay, fine. Well,
yeah. It's a simple, as I said, it's a simple, expand 4X game. And
yeah.
I did like it.
I'm gonna quick fire a couple of these because I played like 4 or 5 games the last week and a half. I was lucky for once. I played Chicken. It sounds stupid, but Chicken is basically, have you ever played Zombie Dice?
I think I played with you many years ago.
Yeah, Zombie Dice is like a staple for my students and friends for a quick filler. Well, basically, Chicken takes that a step further. So it's just a dice game. Very simple. You roll a couple of dice, I think 5 white dice or whatever. And if you roll a chicken face, it's a point. If you roll a fox face, if you have 3 fox faces, you die, right? So it's push your luck. But you can also have an egg. If you roll an egg, that means you take a die from the middle, which is colored, and you add it to your dice. So at any time you can, and re-roll if you want to. At any time you can stop. For example, so I have 3 points and maybe 5 dice, I'm going to stop. And then in other games, you would reset. But in this game, all the dice that you've used, if you didn't bust, all those dice go to the next player. So instead of rolling the initial 5 or something, they might be rolling 8, which of course increases the chance that they might bust. So they're like, it's just a lot of fun for a very short time. And it was a Kickstarter as well. And it was well, people can see it, but I'm going to make a video about it as well. Last time we played it was, well, basically hilarious because you're like, bust, 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 bust. And you see foxes, yeah, stuff like that. Yeah, it's very silly. I played Zombie Kidz just now before my daughter went to bed. My oldest, she's about to turn 6. So we played Zombie Kidz, which is a kids legacy game, basically. And you have a couple of zombies. They're invading the school. You have 2 heroes in the middle. Very simple. You move. If there's a zombie there, you kill it. And if you and the other person go to one of the edges of the map, which basically the entryways, if you're there together, you high five and you lock the gate. And if you lock all 4 gates, you win the game. But if all the zombies are out on the board, you lose the game. But even when you lose, you get a sticker. It's for the kids, of course. And if you win and you get some specific mission objectives, you get like a sticker of a brain and a cup, and you paste it. And if you, at the back of the rule book, there's like a whole long list of places where you put the stickers. And after every amount of stickers, you can open an envelope like a legacy game. So basically, we have to play 3 times, and then we can open an envelope. if you even if you lose. Okay, if you lose every time, you have to play 5 times. But she likes it. It's fun because she like makes all these noises, die and stuff like that. So that's very nice.
Isn't the fact that it's basically the same game over and over again, isn't it?
Well, there's a ton of envelopes, and there's like in the rule book there's like as usual like spaces where you place the new rules. So as far as I know, you're going to get new characters, abilities, and zombies with abilities as well. So that is supposed
to be the same location every time, though, isn't it?
Oh, the board stays the same, but you have 2 sides. The other side is more difficult, but the board stays the same, yeah. Okay. But then again, it's for young kids. So there's also another Zombie Kids Legacy game. I think it's Zombie Teenagers or whatever. Evolution, Zombie Kids Evolution. Yeah. That's that. Well, I'm just happy that she wants to play. So I'm slowly starting to introduce some more real games. So yeah. Okay, I have three more. I have Mercurial. Mercurial. It was Kickstarter. Very beautiful. Looks amazing. And gameplay wise, it is okay. Like it might be in my top 100, but then the lower ones, because you're all a mage, and it kind of takes its cue from what do you call it? Spice Road, right? Or Golem Edition, that one. So you have the cards and you play them. You get you get your resources, and you're trying to create a spell. But there's also some math involved, which I'm going to save you now the trouble of explaining it to you. But basically, the game mechanics, they're fine, but it's just very pretty. So people will stop by and say, "Oh wow, what is this?" But game-wise, it's okay. And then we have Age of Comics, the Golden Age.
Yes, how's that?
That is, I like it. We played it with our good friend. I played with our good friend Miguel, and he beat me, but it was so close. But so I played it solo, and I played it 2-player. Basically, you have your own comic book production house, whatever, and you're trying to produce comics, and those will go on a ranking, and every round they will drop 1 step, so they'll become less popular, which makes sense. But there's ways to boost your comics, because you have a basics worker placement. You place your editors, you get to do certain actions. For example, you have to hire writers and artists, and then you have to also develop the comic book, and then you have to combine all 3, and then you produce your comic book. But then you can also get money for royalties. You can go to the city, Manhattan, and go around to do marketing. Depending on how popular your book is, you can get certain things. And the cool part is, which is kind of original, I feel, you make 1 comic book, it's fine. You make a second comic book, and you unlock your special action. And then you have like 3 locations that make the previous actions more powerful, give you certain benefits. You make a third comic book, you can have another cube that goes to the level 3 actions, and then another one, level 4. So you have like 6 possible actions. We can only choose 3. And if you make another comic book, you can move them around a bit, but that's it. And that's something that our good friend did a lot, which was kind of annoying. You make an original comic, and then the other players at the table can create a knockoff, a ripoff. For example, you have Gang Wars, because it has like the actual comic cover, right? It has Gang Wars, and then the ripoff is Bang Wars. It's so stupid. And it's like gray. And like love letters and like passion letters or whatever. But basically, when you when you build a knockoff, it just helps you try to get majority if you also have an original comic, but it also gets you some money, but doesn't give you any endgame scoring. So it can help you produce more stuff. Basically, he went full ripoff, and I went full original, and we was at 90 to 83. But I made a stupid mistake last round. It could have been 1990, but he still would have won. But anyway,
yeah. I remember having it on my Remind Later on Kickstarter.
Yeah.
I didn't go for it in the end. I think because superficially because it wasn't pretty enough.
I think the comics themselves, the cards and the little comics and everything makes it really cool. The coins are nice. The gameplay is, I would say, good. Yeah. It's better than Mercurial, for example. So I would see that more in between, let's say, 50 and 70 in my top 100, maybe. We'll see. But,
I was just trying to find an excuse not to back it, I think.
No, but I mean, I feel if you...
I was interested in it. I was really interested.
he also said it's okay. Now, you break it out, people will like it, but it's not like a staple or whatever. It's not like, wow, you have to play this. It's crazy. It's just serviceable, good, And Voidfall, have you played it?
Not yet. It's just because I want to play one of these Friday nights. It's just I'm intimidated by the rule book.
Yeah, that's why I played with people who played before. So they basically, because I watched the video of Paul Groban, the master of how to play, basically, and after that I was still like, what?
Yeah,
But apparently in the rulebook you can do the solo, and it really holds your hand, like it really walks you through it, and it is I thought it was a really good game, although some people at the table feel there's not enough interaction with each other, like not enough fighting or whatever, although you do have different scenarios where you can actually focus on the fighting. And once again, it feels a little bit like Spice Road, because you have your cards in your hand that you play, and once you put them down, later on you'll get them back, but it's like, and you can well, you don't get new cards though. The cards that you have are the cards that you will have, but you also have to balance the corruption, which feels a bit like Lords of Waterdeep. Like you get corruption, and that might give you some powers, but then you want to get rid of it as well, because they will block certain points or make it more difficult. Basically, block scoring like a lot. So, which is something and also it increases the power because after every round, the Voidfall will attack you, right? So if you have no corruption whatsoever, they're really pathetically weak. But if you have a lot of corruption, it's like, oh my god, and I lost like a whole cluster or whatever, because I only realized it later on, like I have way too much corruption. But even then, the scores of all four of us were really close.
How long did it take them?
Oh, we played like 4 or 5 hours. No, 4 hours, I think. But it also depends, because every round, I forgot the name of the card, but you will take a round card that will say how many turns there are, like basically how many cards you can play. And we always had like 4, 4, 4, 4, and I think one time 5. But it could also have been 6, 6, 6, 5 or something. And then the game is much longer because you have more turns in a round, basically. So yeah, they said they were actually kind of surprised that it was over as quickly. And I'm saying 4 hours because they had to explain it, and then we had rules questions, and the iconography is like, oh my goodness, so many icons. It makes sense, it's true after a while, but still, it's a lot. I liked it. I want to play it again as well, but then Marvel Zombies arrived, and then as zombies do, they demand your attention.
Fair enough. Yeah. I also played Red Cathedral with the expansion.
Mm-hmm.
Have you played that before?
No, but our good friend told me about it, that you played. But
it's a really good game too.
It's a really good game, yeah.
It's got one dice and
it's tile laying, right?
No, it's actually got it's got these cathedrals, these cards that laid out to make the cathedral, and you're kind of competing to build certain segments of it.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen it. Yeah, okay, I can picture it, but yeah.
So it's quite very interactive in that way. And there's also this one dial which you move the dice around according to the pips on the dice to get certain resources and a action spot.
Good enough for your top 100?
Sorry?
Good enough for your top 100?
It actually would squeeze in there, yes. It's very clever. And it comes in a really small box. So the expansion doesn't fit in the small box. And yeah, it actually shows it's a very clever design, and that's why I'm also really looking forward to the White Castle, which is by the same team.
But that only has that sounds pretty crazy, because that has like 9 actions, right?
Yes, right.
In the whole game. That's one of those games that I'm going to lose.
I didn't feel that limited. I thought it was more.
Apparently, I mean, that's what I read. I don't know how trustworthy my source is, but it's on my list too, because it also looks really nice. So.
Very pretty game, and I said it's actually has a very small footprint, which is a bonus for the guys, I guess.
Yeah.
When you look I think it's like the total opposite to Voidfall. I'm looking at that now; it's like a monstrosity there.
Yes. I saw someone paint it as well. It looked nice.
And I'm unfortunately doing that too.
Okay, let's move on to the next section. Okay, that was the first part. The next part will be all about Kickstarters, so stay tuned. And as usual, you can find us on all the socials, Instagram, YouTube, obviously. This is where you're listening to this now, most likely. The podcast should be on Spotify and everything else as well down the line. I hope as quickly as possible. And also check Discord, Instagram, everything else. Okay? All right. Bye-bye.